remember like having text messages and group me and all these things. And it was so insecure. And you would be talking to someone and they're like, oh yeah, I already sent that. And you're like, what did you send and who did you send it to? Like you're frightened. But now thinking about everything that we can do securely through the platform, like reporting events to police, adding in collaborators, sharing evidence, just all these things, like from a brand exposure standpoint, from an audit trail standpoint, it's just so cool because it just makes everything more safe and secure, like even from a business standpoint.
You're listening to the Retail Crime Intelligence Podcast by Auror, where we share actionable insights to help you reduce crime and violence in your stores. Hey everyone, welcome to the Retail Crime Podcast. Bobby Haskins here. We're trying something new today. We're actually going to do a video. We're all in the office here in Denver, and I'm excited to have three other Auras joining me today, channeling our best video podcast that we can do. I'm going to do a little interview. I'm going to ask some questions. You guys are probably going to get put on the spot, but we'll see how this goes. Thanks for tuning in. So before I even get started and before we start to learn more about what's going on in the industry, what's happened at Auror in the last 3 to 4 months, probably should introduce these people to the left of me. So I'm going to turn it over. We're going to go one by one. Kylene, say hi to everyone.
Sounds great, Bobby. Well, lovely to see everyone, hear everyone. Lovely that you're tuning in today. Thank you so much. Kylene Jones, Senior Director of Retail Solutions here at Auror. I've been with the company for about 4 years now. It's gone by very, very quickly. Originally from New Zealand, as you can hear from my accent. But yeah, here in North America to help with the growth of Auror. And lovely to be on the podcast today.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Kring. I am the Director of Retail Partnerships here at Auror. I've been here for almost a year and a half, which it is also crazy how fast the time goes. Retail background, law enforcement background, and has just been having an absolute blast here on the Auror team. So excited to share what's been going on with everybody over the past few months.
Yeah, and hello, everybody. Terry Sullivan, Vice President of Retail Solutions. Hard to believe I've been here about 18 months as well, Elena. Time does fly when you're having fun. So look forward to chatting with my colleagues today on this podcast. So.
Awesome. Thanks, team. And you all probably know me, and I'm the old one on the group, having been at Auror for coming up on 6 years. But we're going to spend 15, 20 minutes today just learning a bit more around what the team's been doing, what's going on out in the industry. This is my idea of putting us all on camera, all in person. I don't think the team is very thrilled with this idea, but I thought it'd be fun. Like just have a little chat or understand what you all have been up to, what's going on in the industry, what are we hearing, what are the challenges, and we'll see how this 15, 20 minutes goes. So I'm going to start because in the last 3 to 4 months, Mr. Sullivan, you've put on probably 100,000 American airline miles, give or take, right?
Yeah, it feels that way.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so you've been out on the road. You shook some hands, kissed some babies, being the mayor of loss prevention out there at, what do we have, RILA, NRF Protect. We've got a few different trade shows. Where have you been? What have you been doing? And what's been the highlight of the last 3 to 4 months for you?
Boy, lots of questions to answer. Yeah, I've been to a lot of places. I think for the first time ever, Bobby, I think I went back to back trade shows with RCC, FMI, and then RILA, and then to top it off with the NRF. So super busy with trade shows, going out, seeing customers, seeing prospects here in Denver. Really glad to be here at our office, home base. I don't get here very often, so it's great to be here with the team. So reuniting with all friends and colleagues, continuing to share the great things that are going on with Auror has been terrific. And out of that, not only we continue to get great prospects, but we get great customers. Just recently in the last month, we've brought on Meyer into the family with Auror. Yeah, big win there as well. I know we've brought on Best Buy Canada. We've brought on most recently Heritage, then of course Boot Barn. So it's been really busy closing some deals, but more importantly, growing our footprint here in the U.S. and Canada.
Awesome. So Elena and Kylene, to both of you, having participated in all of those trade shows that Terry was at. Elena, looking to you, what was one highlight? I know there's probably a lot of highlights.
There always are.
What was the one highlight from you out of the trade show season that we just kind of wrapped up?
I think it's been really incredible to see how we've really been focusing on LPR, so license plate recognition, and how that's bringing so much safety and security to the stores that have rolled out. And then also just bringing in law enforcement. So the highlight for me was we were at NRF and we had the entire California Highway Patrol to the booth to show them the platform and how we can work with LPR and just provide them with some incredible solutions long term. It's just a really great time to showcase what we are just really great at and how we can continue to collaborate with law enforcement.
Kylene, your highlight?
It's a great question, Bobby. I think for me, the biggest highlight was bringing people into our next generation room, and just the willingness for everyone to share their feedback. Like that was the biggest thing for me, because I think not only our customers are willing to share feedback, but customers to be were willing to share their feedback on things that we're looking to build, maybe 6-9 months down the pipeline. And so there's a lot of really exciting new product features that we're looking to build in. And so for me, that was awesome. And I just love that willingness of this community and the loss prevention community. They're just so willing to, give their time and share. So thank you, everyone who did come through and, share their feedback.
Bobby, jumping in from a highlight for me, having two of our founders, Tom Badbury and our CEO, Phil Thompson at NRF Long Beach, and for them to tell the story to our team of 7 years prior, coming over from New Zealand, going to NRF, and having an 8x10 booth with a table and a TV on top, going and trying to make an impact into retail loss prevention and asset protection. And then fast forwarding 7 years later, when we're back at Long Beach NRF with a 25x25 booth with 20 auras out there networking with customers, prospects, law enforcement as well. I mean, it's just a surreal story when you look at where we are today and where we were 7 years ago in the U.S.
Yeah, spot on. The journey in relatively short amount of time that Phil and Tom and the entire Aura team has seen, it's been huge, and it's all due to the relationships and the partnerships that you all are building and that Aura builds with our retail partners, our retail prospects. Hosting this trial here of a video podcast, I think we're
So
making
far, so
some
So good.
great progress so far. I get some luxuries, and I get to tell my highlight of the trade show season. Obviously, I can talk about interacting with different customers and different prospects, but my highlight was actually watching the Aura team rally around what could have been a pretty challenging moment. So Mr. Sullivan over there talks about NRF Protect and our 25x25 booth that we had. That booth, a day before NRF Protect, got delivered to Oklahoma, few hundred miles away.
From California. Yeah.
Right? From Long Beach.
That's
And-
right. Like CFO was like, that's not far, right?
No, yeah, just throw it in the truck. So what could have been absolute panic turned into, we're going to make the most of this. The team rallied. They got plans in place to get that booth there on time. And if it didn't, we were going to have an awesome, epic dance party, maybe with some espresso martinis on a big 25x25 foot carpet.
DJ, right?
DJ, we were looking at all that.
Strobe lights.
Yeah, like
iPads, strobe lights.
too, have some interactions with customers, prospects. And I think for me, the highlight is it doesn't matter the booth, it doesn't matter the space, the team. We show up, we'll make the most of it, and we rallied around that. What could have been a very tough situation, we're going to make the most of it. The booth showed up. We were able to deliver on all of that, have great interactions, but it's pretty cool and a pretty cool testament to the people that are at Aura, and hopefully all of our customers, our prospects see and feel that vibe that we exude and have out there. So that was my highlight, team. Sorry, I get those personal liberties of hosting this thing that we're doing, and I wanted to tell that story. So, Kai, you gave away a little hint around some, exciting product stuff that might be coming, a lot of conversations. Elena, looking at you've been out on the road a bit, not only with trade shows, but visiting current customers.
Yes.
And, your team is interacting with a lot of different customers. What are you hearing from customers? What are the pain points? What are the focuses that you're hearing from our current customers out there today?
Yeah, I think that it's just the same thing that we hear. We've got a lot of activity in stores. Safety is paramount. They're trying to aggregate cases for police prosecution. And honestly, they know that other retailers are being impacted. And so it's the same thing, just a different day, I feel like, because I was in the industry for a long time and it's the same thing we were trying to solve all those years ago. And so one of the things that we've been hearing specifically around what we can offer and how we do things differently is really that cross-org collaboration, knowing that the offenders that are repeatedly in their buildings, being aggressive, being threatening, using weapons, causing safety concerns, are actually impacting other retailers. And how can they partner quickly to respond quickly with law enforcement? The other piece of that too is just the fact that it's been so nice and so critical to have law enforcement in the platform, not only seeing the intel that they offer, but being added into investigations as collaborators and bringing forth all of the great information that we have into one place to actually prosecute effectively and timely. So I think folks are really just focused on making sure that we have great data in the platform that's actionable, that's intelligent, and that actually allows us to work the network effect the way that we know that it does.
Awesome. And then Terry, looking at you, similar question, having conversations with, key decision makers across the industry, having been an industry vet for, I'm not going to say how many years, just a few. What are you hearing from them? What, as they think about, the next 3 to 5 years, what are the trends? What are they looking at? What is keeping them up at night that they need to start being aware of in the next 3 to 5?
Bobby, I think it's much of the same, in this post-COVID world that we're in, right? You can't turn the Titanic in a bathtub. And I think it's slow change, right? It's working with law enforcement. It's working with prosecutors. It's working with their GR teams, going up to Washington, trying to influence change with different bills and different laws for organized retail crime. It's no secret we're in an election year. So it's what's around the corner, for retail today.
Civil unrest.
Yeah, what's going to happen come November in the U.S. So no one knows if we're going to, inflation, recession, what does that mean for forecasts going forward? Am I going to have more staff, have to reduce staff? What different challenges are we going to face? It's almost like rinse and repeat to a certain extent of some of the challenges that the AP leaders are facing today, as far as, doing more with less. It seems to be back and back big, AP taking on more responsibilities. But I will tell you, crime and violence is not reducing swiftly, that's for sure. It continues to be a challenge for all genres of retail out there.
And I think, as you said, Terry, that's the big thing, right? Who knows what's going to happen come November? And even Elena and I were talking about this on the weekend, what happened in 2020. And I don't know if you want to share your story, but what happened when you had to go out to stores and who knew what was going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that was when you still had to have a letter from your employer saying that you were considered essential to get on a plane. And we had a lot of civil unrest in areas and trying to get there, and stores were being burned to the ground and people were looting and there was a lot going on. And seeing how law enforcement came together so quickly, trying to get people identified, to get everyone linked. And when I think about the power that Aura has, we're in a different place than we were in 2020 than we are in 2024 with the power of Aura and just the fact that we have that strong intel in the platform and so many retailers are using it. And I know one of the things Bobby and I have talked about is can you imagine a day when every major retailer is on the platform and we're literally just solving organized retail crime at a maximum level because we have the intelligence there and the relationships built and law enforcement is 100% in. So it's really cool to think what could be possible if something like that did happen again, just based on where we are in the industry.
It's a really good segue, Elena, into a question I'll pose to all three of you. So you talk about the network effect and what's changed since pre-pandemic, and talk a little bit about Aura. The interesting thing, we started to pull data just this year alone. We've got 5 million events inside of Aura. There's 252,000 repeat people already identified inside of Aura. There's a massive data set. And so turning it over to you three, Elena, I'll start with you because you're interacting with customers the most. Go to Kai and Terry after that. What are some big wins that you've seen out of that data set for our customers? And, what are some highlights that you've seen in the last 3 to 4 months?
No, that's a fantastic question. That's the beauty and the joy, I think, of being in this role. You talk to customers every day, and I remember being there and wanting to see such big things happen quickly, but things take time. But one case I can think of in particular, there was a group that was extremely violent on the East Coast. They were traveling very quickly. They couldn't really keep up with the amount of events, and someone recognized them in one of the stores and actually notified the next store through group admissions that they were most likely going to be traveling. That notification went out. They were able to actually notify the FBI. So they were apprehended in store by the local law enforcement in the Carolinas, but then they actually were picked up by the FBI. And that was a group that had been very violent, had a million different people, not really, but a ton of different, repeat people associated with them. And it was a huge win for that organization, actually got blasted out like through their C-suite. So it's amazing to me still how involved the senior leaders want to be, to celebrate those wins, to acknowledge the fact that these stores are working so hard and that the teams are too, to actually keep customers and associates safe.
The particular win that I'm thinking about is like two retailers who would have never collaborated before, completely different industries, collaborating and going, hey, actually, we would have never have thought that like someone will be stealing stuff from our store and from your store. How is that happening? How do we collaborate on this case? And I think Vibrant Communities has been a great initiative, an example of that, of many retailers so happy to come together and collaborate, right? This is not a problem that one retailer is solving alone. And they all know that if they do come together, they can build those prosecutable cases and, they do get raised.
For me, retailers want to be part of the solution. I mean, at the end of the day, and they do want to work together. And when you think about, the numbers, Bobby, you threw out, of the incidents and cases that are in Auror today, that's from our customers. That's not just U.S. incidents in retail. That's just our customers, right? So that's why it's important that we continue to grow our database and grow customers into the Auror platform, and why there's a lot of interest in being part of the solution through Auror. So I'm excited to see what the future brings as we continue to bring on customers, continue to gather data. It just gives us more of a leg to stand on when we're working with, again, law enforcement and legislators to be able to show the true problem on what's going on out there at the local level, the county, the state level, the federal level as well. And speaking of the federal level, we got Raul working with us now, right? I mean,
Mr. Aguilar.
Yeah, Aguilar.
Mayor Aguilar.
So it's super cool for me. I mean, Raul was a friend and a colleague prior to coming on board for Auror, and now, again, trying to be part of that solution, working with us, right? And working with a lot of folks that he has met along the way. So it's a huge add for Auror. And just being in the Denver office today, I haven't been here. I think it's been 4 or 5 months, and a lot of new faces, right?
Because you were on the airplanes for the last 3 to 4 months.
Yeah,
That's
I've
why.
been other places. Yeah. As we grow, so does our team, which is great. So it's great to finally, like for me today, to meet a lot of people in person, and again, working together collaboratively, with Auror, with customers, prospects, law enforcement, prosecutors to fight the good fight. So
awesome. So Terry, you talked a little bit about excitement for the future. We're building momentum, more customers joining, and kind of this like Wizard of Oz thing that happens at RILA. What's happening behind the curtain? I always host this next generation room, and walk me through, what is that room? What does it look like? What are we doing in there? And then I'll turn it over to everyone. Like, what was your highlight from the next gen room at RILA? Because I think that speaks to a lot of what we're working on, the future that's coming with Auror, the future of this community we're building.
Yeah. So the next gen room, last year was our second year doing it. As title sponsors for RILA, we have the ability to get a room that we can actually invite customers and prospects into, to show them not only what we're doing in the platform today, but what we're working on in the future. What's next up for Auror? So not only are the 4 of us in that room, but a lot of our key leaders from New Zealand are in that room as well. Our head of product is in the room. Our head of engineering comes over as well. And our founders are there. And it's just collaborating, listening to customers. What would they like to see next in the platform? This is what we're working on. What's your thoughts and opinions? So it helps us really strategize and focus on how we prioritize what we're delivering. Scheduling is tough because there's so much demand in the next gen room, right? Because you're trying to focus on a key audience when folks come in, but we've been able to make it work. And I will tell you, Rod Thomas, our boss, he's just a master in the next gen room, and always make sure there's a bar there at some point during the day. He rolls one in because it's been a long day, right? So
yes, critical, mission critical.
It is getting close to happy hour.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah. So, yeah. So for me, I mean, the highlights are just seeing the CVS team come rolling into the next gen room, seeing the Lowe's team, the Home Depot team, the Walgreens team. Like, they may be competitors when it comes to sales and earnings and EPS and so on and so forth, but they're not competitors when it comes to crime and violence, trying to work together to fight the issues that are happening in the store. So it's been a pretty incredible experience. So looking forward to Next Gen 3.0, which will probably only be about 9 months away.
We've already got plans in place to make that
crazy
the
to
best
hear
next
that
gen room.
Yeah.
So Elena, looking at you with that customer hat on, retail hat on, what was the aha item in the next gen room? That item that we were talking about, whether it was product, whether it was collaboration, like what got our customers, our prospects the most excited out of that next gen room? Cowboy hats were huge.
Or New Zealand chocolate. That's always a win.
Yes. Yep.
New Zealand wine. Yes, we've had cookies. I think from my perspective, we kind of show them where we're going and where we think we need to be. But I think my aha moment is you get all of these fantastic industry leaders in one room, and you know that you're going down the right path, but to hear that we are going down the right path, or they're like, this is great, and could we add this, or could we do this, or, if we were to be able to add that, that would be a game changer. And just to see that very organic, natural iteration come out of, like, we knew we were going to start here and it was going to be like cool, but we actually are going to take it to here and it's going to be like a game changer in the industry. And just to see that happen over a 3-day span is incredible. I think about the voice to text specifically. We started out with that at RILA last year, and then just to see where that's come, the changes that we've made based on the feedback, the betas that we're in with these customers, and just to hear how it's changing their day to day and making them more productive and more safe. That to me is just the coolest thing.
Kai, same question to you. What was the aha moment that you saw out of the retailers in the next gen room?
I was going to say, Elena just stole the words out of my mouth there. So
cheers.
Yeah, voice to text, I mean, is an unreal tool at the end of the day, like, especially when you're talking to retailers who have 10,000, 20,000 stores. Like, you're taking associates away from the store floor to go and enter an event report. If they can do that in 30 seconds, 1 minute, voice to text, hopefully in the future that can be in any language, that again is just like another iteration of the product that we're able to share with those customers for them to trial it, for our, chief product officer to do it in her South African accent. She's like, look, hey, works.
And my Southern accent, Lord knows.
Southern accent, New Zealand accent, American accent, and Boston
accent.
Problematic sometimes, right, Terry?
Yeah, it's always an interesting room to see the dynamics, how people move through. I think my highlight was actually cross organization collaboration through Investigate. So getting notified when you're investigating an individual that another retailer is investigating. Like, I think that was a huge highlight that we saw from a lot of retailers live and in the platform being used by our customers now. So when we think about Vibrant Communities and what Vibrant Communities is doing, it's automating a lot of that manual effort we've seen through RILA's Vibrant Communities and showing this person is being looked at by these 3 different retailers. Y'all should collaborate, because you're already trying to manually do that through text message, email. Did you see I did a y'all there?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Wow.
And how much it's so, like, that's the one thing too I get so giddy about. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I remember like having text messages in GroupMe and all these things, and it was so insecure. And you would be talking to someone and they're like, oh yeah, I already sent that. And you're like, what did you send and who did you send it to? Like, you're frightened. But now thinking about everything that we can do securely through the platform, like reporting events to police, adding in collaborators, sharing evidence, just all these things, like from a brand exposure standpoint, from an audit trail standpoint, it's just so cool because it just makes everything more safe and secure, like even from a business standpoint. So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Game on. That's why we're doing this. That's why we all have microphones. Like, everyone has the power here to, just step in. Looks like Mr. Sullivan's ready to step in.
Here we go.
You had me at y'all. So,
Y'all.
yeah. You lost me there. So. Yeah.
Well,
You've been hanging around with Elena way too much.
A couple days in Denver, that'll happen. Yeah. So wrapping up here, team, appreciate you all jumping on, trying this experiment here. We'll see if we do this again. We'll have to talk to our marketing team to see if it checked the box or not. But wrapping up, we're in the dog days of summer here, starting to wrap up summer. What's either the highlight of your summer so far, if you've had it, or if it's coming up, and like what are you looking for, or what was the highlight of the summer? Kai?
Work highlight or personal highlight?
Personal highlight.
Personal highlight.
I should
Wow.
know what this is.
You've got some like big stuff happening.
Yeah, they're just little. Yeah. Having a baby in 2 months. Just small life change. Yeah. So probably that. I mean, maybe that.
That's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bobby.
That's awesome. Elena?
You already know what mine's going to be. Tim came home from deployment after a while of being away. So that was most definitely my highlight, just to have him back and to enjoy the boat, because Lord knows that's all he was concerned about when he got back was getting on the boat. Top notch. That was the only thing.
That's an awesome highlight. And from all of us, thank you. And please make sure Tim knows we appreciate his service for what he's doing over there. Yeah. Mr. Sullivan?
1,000%. Well, Kai's having babies, and I'm sending my baby off to college.
Yes.
So big highlight for the Sullivan family. So empty nesters soon.
Yeah,
we're on the clock. Yeah, just another week away. So kind of building up to that all summer. So super proud of my youngest and my oldest to be a junior in college. So big changes happening. So I can get on more airplanes, I guess, because nobody's home but Jen and the dog.
That's awesome. Well, my highlight team, I head out in a couple of days here to Rhode Island, hang out with my side of the family. I don't know if that's a highlight for my wife or not, but it's a highlight for me.
Yes.
Hang out with my side of the family, enjoy some East Coast time, sit on the beach, relax. So actually take a week to disconnect. But I appreciate you all jumping on, having this conversation. Thank you. Thanks for sharing a little human element at the end too. And for everyone tuning in, we appreciate it. And until we see you on the next podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Retail Crime Intelligence Podcast by Auror. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast app.